here at BJ's today, which is kind of like a wholesale store to buy things in bulk. And I want to give you some tips on some of the best, healthiest products you can buy at a place like BJ's. So to do that, I first want to show you that we're going to really learn to look at food labels. So this is one of our favorite spaghetti sauces, Rouse. We get this here in bulk, obviously. But what we're looking at when we look at the label is the carb content and the added sugar. And this added sugar line will be on every product by next year. And that's really helpful so we know how many sugars just are naturally in this product versus that were added by the manufacturer, okay? So this has 3 grams of sugar, but we know it's coming naturally from the tomatoes versus no grams of added sugar, which is really what we want to see. I also want you guys to get familiar with looking at the ingredients in a product before buying it, because the ingredients are listed in order of prevalence in that product. So the most prevalent ingredient will be first, the second, third, fourth, fifth, and at the end is just little trace amounts. Okay, so obviously in this tomato sauce, the Italian whole peeled tomatoes are first, olive oil, onions, salt, garlic, basil, black pepper, and dried oregano. Very clean ingredients, and that's what we're looking for when we look at products like this. So some things we want to avoid when we go into BJ's. First thing, we want to avoid sugar and lots of added sugar. So we're looking for things on the food labels like maltodextrin or dextrose, because there's a bunch of different code names for sugar out there, but those are the big ones. In terms of the most hazardous form of sugar, we really do want to stay away from fructose, because fructose is processed differently than any other sugar in the body. So any other type of sugar can be stored in our muscle as glycogen, which is really helpful for workouts and performance, but fructose cannot. It can only be stored in the liver, and it can only be stored in about 20 to 30 grams of fructose in the liver. So anything in excess of that is going to go through a process called de novo lipogenesis and be stored around the liver and in our midsection. So that has the biggest cause for fatty liver disease and obesity. So we want to avoid foods that are high in fructose, which agave, anything that has agave in it is huge. Maple syrup, honey, even though they are natural sugars, will be high in fructose, and fruit juice, okay? So those are the things we're going to look for. We also want to avoid vegetable oils. So we talked about this a little bit last week, but vegetable oils have a high content of omega-6. They're very inflammatory in the body. So they cause a lot of oxidative stress as our bodies try to process them. So we're going to stay away from things like soybean oil, canola oil, peanut oil, rapeseed oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, corn oil. There's a whole list of them, and we're going to put them on the video so you don't have to just memorize them from me talking about them. And we're going to try to find oils that are really good and anti-inflammatory in our body, like olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, and we'll show you those once we get inside. Next, we want to avoid products that have soy in them. So soy could be soybeans, it could be soybean oil, or it could be soy sauce. All right, all of these things are very estrogenic in our bodies. So soy has what's called phytoestrogens, and phytoestrogens mimic estrogen, the hormone in our body, and they also upregulate our body's natural production of estrogen. So they're throwing off our hormone balance in favor of fat storage. Okay, so we really do want to eliminate soy from our diet and avoid products that contain soy. We also want to avoid any animals who have been fed soy and corn predominantly. So these are our factory farmed animals, and a lot of meat at traditional grocery stores and stores like BJ's, wholesale stores, is that factory farmed meat. So I'm going to tell you how to kind of navigate that meat section in favor of some better options there. And finally, especially for the ketogenic diet, we want to avoid certain sweeteners, okay? So the big one is called acesulfame potassium, or ACE-K. And I want you to look carefully for this if you're doing a ketogenic diet, because it's in a lot of diet drinks and sugar-free products. And it is sugar-free. It doesn't spike blood sugar, but it does spike insulin. It causes our pancreas to produce a large amount of insulin, which is our storage hormone. So it will kick you out of ketosis, and it will cause fat storage. So we're going to stay away from ACE-K, or acesulfame potassium, and also maltitol. So maltitol is a sugar alcohol, which some sugar alcohols are fine, perfectly fine. I really like erythritol, xylitol is okay, but maltitol has a higher glycemic index, so it does actually spike blood sugar a bit, and it wreaks havoc on our digestive system. So all sugar alcohols are similar to fiber, okay? They can't be digested wholly in the body, okay? So they kind of go through undigested, and because of that, we can subtract them from our carbohydrate content, and when we're calculating our net carbs, we can subtract the sugar alcohols. But in the case of maltitol, that's not really the case because it does affect blood sugar, so we're going to avoid that in any products. And then finally, we always want to avoid what's called MSG, or monosodium glutamate, okay? This is also seen as yeast extract on food labels, so you got to look for yeast extract or MSG, because this is an excitatory neurotransmitter, okay? So manufacturers use this to get us more addicted to products because it makes them more hyperpalatable. So we really want to avoid any trace of MSG in our diet. So knowing that, we're going to take those things with us and head into BJ's and find the best options. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. All right, guys, we're here in the drink section, which can be a very confusing section.
Attention,
so
BJ's
one thing
members.
I always want to point out is I love carbonated waters. Carbonated waters that are not sweetened. But Perrier has great water, but some of them contain juice. So be cautious. Something like Perrier plus the juice drink, this is going to have 12 grams of sugar in it. So we want to stay away from that. Don't fall into that trap. If we come down here a little, Bai water can be a good option for the ketogenic diet. Okay, so if we look at, is that gonna fall down? Let's look from here. Good. If we look at Bai water, it is sweetened with erythritol. So I don't know if you can see this, Philip. But see the ingredients: filtered water, erythritol, coconut water concentrate, and then it also has some stevia in it down at the bottom here. But you can see the total sugars, 1 gram. Okay, 0 added sugars, it has 10 grams of erythritol, so that's where the carbohydrates would come in. It's completely safe for a ketogenic diet. So as long as it doesn't make you crave other sweet things, that can be an acceptable drink. Something like coconut water, I'm a big fan of coconut, but coconut water is real sugar. So if you need an electrolyte for your kids, they're very active, they play soccer or football, or they're out on the court for a long time, something like coconut water is going to have some electrolytes and some natural sugar in it to kind of replenish their glycogen store. So that's always a good natural option for an electrolyte drink. Okay guys, another decent option for a ketogenic diet is vitamin water zero. So make sure it's the zero, meaning 0 sugar, because it is sweetened with erythritol and stevia. So a good, again, safe keto sweeteners. They won't spike blood sugar or insulin or kick you out of ketosis. There are some vitamins in here and some electrolytes. So if you need a little sweetness, a little flavor in your drink, this would be another good option. All right, if we go over here to Hint water, this is a great option. This is really, doesn't have any sweetener in it at all, just a hint of flavor. So it has a hint of different fruit in it, very simple and clean ingredients in here. So that would be just something a little bit different than plain water. Some ones you want to avoid, something like Propel. This has what I was talking about, the asulfame potassium, as well as a sweetener called sucralose. Okay, sucralose has been shown to kill gut biome, our gut biome, about 50%. So it's not great, okay? It doesn't affect ketosis, but it's not my favorite sweetener because it is a chemical sweetener and it destroys some of our good gut bugs. Okay, so Propel, I would stay away from even the Propel Zero. Another one sweetened with sucralose is down here at the end, and this is that ice drink. So I've gotten a lot of questions about this in the past. Yes, it has 0 sugar, it's carbonated, but it does have sucralose. Okay, so again, it won't affect ketosis, but it is a chemical sweetener, so you don't want to have a ton of that. Alright guys, back to the carbonated waters. These are a great option if you're bored with plain water. Something like San Pellegrino, Perrier, great option. This Polar seltzer water. I like these because they come in a lot of different flavors. And when you look on the label here, it's gonna say carbonated water and natural flavors. So natural flavors are in pretty much any product you look at. And it's like, what does that mean? Well, it's actually classified as over 150 different trace additives. So we don't know exactly what natural flavors are, but we're not gonna get that picky. Just know that it's usually not a big deal to have something with natural flavors in it. So this is something that's a staple in our fridge. Lots of different flavors of carbonated water. There's also the BJ's brand here that you can get a little bit bigger bottles. What you have to be cautious of though is right next to this, you're gonna see one that looks very similar and it says sparkling water, but if you look at the ingredients here, it's gonna say asulfame potassium and sucralose. So this one will taste sweet. It's not just flavored bubbly water. This one has sweetener in it. So I would avoid that and do something like just the plain carbonated water. All right, so in terms of cheeses, I like to stick with the grass-fed options, and this Kerrygold brand is great. They also have a great butter, but the Kerrygold cheese comes in both a cheddar and
Oh!
Hello!
What's up, guys?
What are you guys doing here?
Shopping. Getting hydrated for the week.
What you got there, Nate?
Here are some examples of what we don't want to bring in our BJ's haul.
This little meal prep with
Little meal
Doritos. Meal prep. It's pretty solid. It's what we need. Got to get the gains.
Spence, what do you have?
Some Diet Pepsi.
Diet
You know,
Pepsi.
Diet's the way to go, right?
Good old aspartame.
He's keeping it healthy, which is important. That's good. That's good.
You guys gonna learn a few things?
Maybe a thing or two. Might teach you guys a thing or two too, if you know what I mean.
Don't put that in my cart.
No, we won't. We won't. We promise. All right.
All right, back to the cheeses. All right, so they do have the Kerrygold brand, 2 different varieties of cheese, guys. So that would be your best, least processed version of cheese that they do have at BJ's. All right, we'll come around this way. I really love the Holy Guacamole, guys. These are great value. They're individual packs. All right, so you can get the regular ones, very good clean ingredients. It's just the avocado, vinegar, and then jalapeno peppers, salt, onion, and garlic. So really clean. If you want an organic version, they make this brand, the Cabo Fresh, as well. So 2 different options with little mini packs of guacamole, great for dipping veggies in, deli meat roll-ups, pork rinds. These are definitely a staple. We're gonna grab some of these. All right, guys, a great clean string cheese option, the Horizon Organic brand. No additives or other ingredients. Basically, it's just gonna be the organic mozzarella cheese, some part skim organic milk, and some enzymes, okay? So that's another great buy. I'm gonna get these, my kids love those. If we come down here, our yogurts, we like 2 different types of the yogurts here. The first one is a great brand for keto. So it's called the Too Good variety, okay? So Too Good yogurt, it basically has 2 grams of sugar and no added sugar. The only sugar in it does come from the lactose, which is the sugar that naturally comes in the milk. So this pack is half strawberry, half blueberry. It's got 6 of each, and this is a truly ketogenic yogurt, okay? I don't do dairy with my ketogenic diet, but my husband loves these, my mom loves these. This is a great snack. My kids prefer the Dannon Oikios. Okay, this is the 000, high in protein. So it's got 15 grams of protein, and this one is sweetened with stevia, so no added sugar in this as well. And that's really hard to find in a yogurt. Okay, so this is a really good one. This one comes in an 18 pack, so 18, 3 different flavors here. Kerrygold butter, another staple. This is good, clean, grass-fed butter, a great saturated fat. The only ingredients are pasteurized cream and salt. Okay, so it is salted. This is the biggest tub you will find this in. So definitely this is great for cooking, to melt on your veggies, on your sweet potato. That's a great find here at BJ's. grass finished option. That just means the omega profile will be higher in omega-3s, lower in omega-6s. Okay, so today at BJ's it's pretty picked over. They typically have a grass-fed ground beef. I don't even see that today, but they do have this 100% grass-fed organic beef stew meat. That's going to be their only 100% grass-fed option, and it is organic, so that's a plus. Another thing you want to look for, even if it isn't 100% grass-fed, you want to find one that says no antibiotics ever. No hormones added ever, because if it doesn't say ever, the FDA says that it just has to have no antibiotics or hormones in the past 30 days, and you really want it to be for the course of that animal's life. So make sure you're looking carefully for no antibiotics or hormones ever. Alright, in terms of hot dogs and lunch meat, I really do like the Applegate brand. They have some really good quality products. And this one in particular, and for the hot dogs, they're organic, they're uncured beef, and they're 100% grass-fed, pasture-raised beef, no antibiotics ever. So they have that staple on them. Same thing goes for their turkey and ham as well. You can see the no antibiotics ever. So that's a really important thing to have on lunch meat. As far as their bacon, that's really high quality too. It's called their uncured Sunday bacon. You see the no antibiotics ever, no added sugar. So I really like this variety of the bacon, the lunch meats, and the organic grass-fed hot dogs. Alright guys, in terms of poultry and eggs, you want to look for certain things on the package. So there's kind of a hierarchy. First would be cage-free, then free-range, and then pasture-raised. Pasture-raised is going to be like the gold standard. Okay, cage-free and free-range are pretty similar. The animals do get a little bit more space. Free-range, they actually have to have access to the outdoors and sunlight, which is nice. But pasture-raised, they have more room to roam and eat more of a natural diet. So that would be the gold standard. So when it comes to buying chicken, if you can't get them pasture-raised, I would definitely recommend, if you're going to do the farm-raised chicken, you want to go with a lower fat variety, because fat is where the toxins are going to be stored on the animal. So if they were given a high soy, a high corn diet, we don't want to eat the fat on that. So we want to stay really away from the thighs, the wings, and really have more of like the chicken breast, which will be leaner. So here, if we were going to do the Tyson brand, this does say no hormones or antibiotics ever, which is great. But we would want to do the chicken breast tenderloins instead of the wings or the thighs would be a healthier option. Now the variety I normally get here in the frozen section is gone. So it's the Harvest Land. They have free-range chicken breasts. They're frozen, they come individually packaged, they're really easy to thaw out and use, but they're all out today. So I would probably do something like the Tyson's, but I would go with the breast over the thighs or the wings or the legs to get a leaner protein option. Same thing with all poultry, so that includes turkey as well. So in terms of eggs, that same hierarchy exists. Cage-free, free-range step above, and then pasture-raised is the gold standard. They don't have pasture-raised here at BJ's. That brand would be Vital Farms, which you can find in a lot of conventional grocery stores. But the options that they have are even out of stock right now. But the best ones are going to be the organic, free-range Pete and Jerry's eggs. Those are great. We're going to show a picture of those. Or the Nellie's free-range eggs. So usually those are stocked up here, and we stock up on them when we're not getting eggs from our farmer. But today they're out. We'll show a picture so you guys can hopefully see them in some other grocery stores. Alright guys, so Jimmy Dean's actually has some good low-carb, convenient breakfast options that are here in the freezer section. I really like these Jimmy Dean's Delights frittatas. Okay, here they have the bacon and spinach flavor. It has egg, mozzarella cheese, bacon, spinach, and Parmesan cheese. So if you're not dairy-free, this would be a great keto option. Also, if you look down here, the Jimmy Dean Delights egg witches, that bread-looking thing on the top and bottom is really just like an egg frittata. Okay, so sandwiched in there is a sausage patty and some cheese. So a good low carb breakfast option there. All right, BJ's has a great selection of non-conventional milks. So coconut and almond milks that are unsweetened. All right, so you can see those here. I would always try to go with the unsweetened variety. My all-time favorite is this blend. It's a coconut almond milk blend by Califia Farms. And it is sweet because if you look at the last ingredient in here, it's monk fruit extract. So monk fruit is a really great keto sweetener. It's not gonna spike blood sugar or insulin, but it's gonna give you just a tiny bit of sweet flavor. So even my kids will drink this. The ingredients are almond milk, coconut cream, calcium carbonate, sunflower lecithin, which is really just an emulsifier, sea salt, natural flavor, again, locust bean gum, and potassium citrate, and then the monk fruit. So very clean. It's a great dairy-free alternative if you're gonna make smoothies or something. All right, this would be a great thing to stock up in your freezer for a quick meal if you're in a bind. It's rice cauliflower with chicken, cilantro, lime. And when you look at the ingredients here, cauliflower, grilled chicken, roasted red peppers, roasted corn, red onion, tomatillos, black beans, and cilantro. So very clean ingredients. It's not necessarily keto. It does have 18 grams of carbs, but 0 added sugars, okay? So that could be a great meal. I like to get these for my daughter. She'll have these occasionally as her lunch. So you pop them in the microwave, they're good to go. I really like the organic fruit selection at BJ's, the frozen fruit, because these are great for smoothies. These blueberries, they have a tropical blend, a berry blend, and they're flash frozen right after the berries are picked. So they have a lot of good nutrition and nutrients in them. And my daughter loves to use these to blend up in her smoothies, so we always load up on the berries. Frozen vegetables are a great option as well because they are also flash frozen when they're picked. So the nutrients aren't oxidized on a truck getting them to you. They're frozen right in the bag. So I really like the steam in the bag options. These broccoli florets have like 6 bags in there, so individual bags that you can steam. There's a broccoli and cauliflower blend that I really like. And then they have individual bags of cauliflower rice as well. So steam in the bag, there's 4 individual bags in here. Makes it really simple to have your cauliflower rice without having to puree the cauliflower yourself. So that's a great option for any low carb diet. In terms of seafood, you always want to look for wild caught versus farm raised. If they're just going to be healthier, they're going to have more vitamins and minerals and nutrients. This is a great example. This uncooked Gulf shrimp, they're already peeled and deveined, so all you've got to do is cook them. All right, so that's a great source of protein. And then any type of fish that you get, I would also look for that wild caught version as well. All right, I'm a big fan of canned tuna and canned salmon as well, guys. So in terms of canned salmon, you want to find, again, the wild caught version. So this is pink salmon, wild Alaskan salmon. Only ingredients are pink salmon and salt. So that would be really good. This is great to mix with some avocado oil mayo. So you can stock up and have some of this in your pantry. Great source of protein and omega-3s. In terms of tuna, I would go with the chunk light version opposed to the white albacore because the chunk light is going to be lower in mercury. Okay, so mercury is not good. We don't want that accumulating in our body if we eat too much. So this is a really good clean tuna. Again, mix it with some mayo, some celery. That can be a really good meal. Put it over a salad. All right, guys, this can be a great alternative to traditional pasta. It's gluten-free because it's made with chickpeas, okay? So chickpeas can provide a little bit of protein, but not the gluten that would be in regular pasta. So this is chickpea rotini. I like to do this for my girls, and we'll put some of the Rouse tomato sauce on it. So again, good alternative to traditional pasta. Not really keto or low carb, but still can be very healthy. So mayonnaise is a tricky one. It could be a health food, especially on a ketogenic diet, because it's really just a combination of eggs and oil. But it's the oil that's used that makes it healthy or unhealthy. So traditional mayo like Duke's unfortunately uses soybean oil. Okay, so very inflammatory. We want to stay away from Duke's, Hellmann's, Miracle Whip. And we want to find an avocado oil based mayo. So the best one is going to be Sir Kensington avocado mayo or Primal Kitchen avocado oil mayo. Unfortunately, BJ's doesn't carry those. They're trying because they are now carrying Sir Kensington organic mayo, but this Sir Kensington is unfortunately, it uses organic sunflower oil. So sunflower oil is technically better than the soybean or canola oil, but it's not as good as the avocado mayo, but a better option. So good for BJ's for doing a little bit healthier option there. All right, BJ's does have a great salsa option. Not only is it no added sugar, but it's really tasty. And it's organic. So no added sugar, all organic ingredients. The only sugar in it is going to be coming naturally from the tomatoes. So we really do like that. We always stock up on the Wesley Farms brand. All right guys, salt is super important on a low carb diet because when our insulin level is low, our kidneys stop retaining the sodium, potassium, and magnesium. And those are important electrolytes, especially as we come into the summer months. We have to replenish sodium. All right, so something like pink Himalayan salt or Celtic sea salt is a great option. I would stock up on these grinders. And something like this big tub, this is new. This is the first time I've seen this here. This is awesome. This will last a long time. But even just, adding some of this to your water, taking some down the hatch twice a day if you are doing a ketogenic diet is really helpful for replenishing electrolytes. It not only has sodium, but other trace minerals in it. And salt makes everything taste better. So use this liberally if you're doing a low carb diet. So we're in the baking aisle, but this is where I would recommend you get your nuts. If you are going for nuts, they're going to be cheaper here than they are where you traditionally find them in the snack aisle. And they're not going to be roasted in unfavorable oils. So these nuts are all kind of raw, unsalted, and ready to be used in baking. So I would highly recommend almonds, walnuts, and pecans. They all have a great omega ratio. They do have some omega-6 in them, but again, if they're not roasted in a high omega-6 oil, they're going to be really healthy and good for you. So nuts are great in moderation. So there are so many oils out there, guys, and it can be so tricky to find the best ones. But remember, we want to stay away from those vegetable and seed oils. Okay, so I want to show you an example of why the canola and soybean oils are so overused. It's because they are so cheap. This is the oil you're going to get when you go to any restaurant, because look here, this is a huge bottle of canola oil for $8.29. Whereas here's the avocado oil or olive oil. This bottle of avocado oil is $12 and the olive oil here is $15. Okay, so a lot bigger savings here, but this is an oil that is very bad for us. So this is what's used in restaurants. It's used for frying. It is very inflammatory in the body. And if you can find a canola oil that is exceller pressed, it's going to be slightly more healthy than traditional canola oil if you have to use it, but it's very hard to find, and they do not have any here at BJ's. So I would definitely stick with their avocado oil or olive oil. Either of those are going to be great for cooking. They also normally have coconut oil in big tubs, but today they are all out, so there's no coconut oil to show you, but that is a great oil for cooking. It's very high in medium chain triglycerides. But yeah, I would definitely stay away from the canola, the soybean oils. I also found for the first time at BJ's a kind of a cool cooking spray that is avocado oil. So this would be great to use a spray on your pan. You just want to check the ingredients, make sure they didn't add anything. Yeah, the only ingredient is extra virgin olive oil, so that would be a great thing to use as well. So either the avocado oil or olive oil would be the best bets here. All right, let's talk about sweeteners. We're in the baking aisle. Remember, we definitely want to stay away from agave. pure fructose here. Same thing with the honey, maple syrup, lots of fructose, not good for our liver. Something like a Pure Via may look healthy because it has stevia in big letters, but when you look on the ingredients, the first ingredient is dextrose. Okay, dextrose is our code name for sugar, so this would not be good for someone on a ketogenic diet. Okay, we're gonna avoid the Pure Via. Same thing with stevia in the raw. Their first ingredient is dextrose before stevia leaf extract, so that would be a no-go. You gotta be a detective sometimes. Splenda is sucralose, so that is the sweetener that's known to be tough on our gut microbiome. Doesn't affect ketosis, but it is a chemical sweetener. Whole Earth, this is their erythritol variety, okay? So erythritol is that sugar alcohol that's gonna be good for the ketogenic diet. So as long as it doesn't upset your stomach, this is a safe sweetener. And then finally over here, Truvia is a good option. So Truvia is an erythritol and stevia blend. And these are the little packets that are great to put in your coffee, or you can sweeten up and do any type of baking with Truvia as well. All traditional salad dressings use soybean or canola oil. Okay, again, they're using the cheap stuff. But this is so exciting. BJ's just in the last few weeks started carrying the Primal Kitchen Ranch dressing. So this uses avocado oil. So really good monounsaturated fat. This is extremely healthy. This is really the best salad dressing. And if you go to other stores, they're gonna have tons of different flavors. Here at BJ's, they just started carrying the ranch. So it's a very popular flavor here. So definitely try that out, a really healthy option for your salads. This is a great deal for apple cider vinegar, $9, 2-pack, and it's organic. If you guys have not added apple cider vinegar to your diet, I would. It's so good for digestion. It's gonna help break down protein in your system. It's also great for controlling your blood sugar, so helping to regulate blood sugar levels. Studies have shown that apple cider vinegar is really good for that. So lots of good benefits, also beneficial for gut health. Just taking 1 or 2 tablespoons with every meal or just first thing in the morning can be really good. All right guys, pork rinds are a great low-carb chip alternative. They're crunchy, they're salty, they make you feel like you're eating chips, but they are very low carb. So I love the Epic brand, and BJ's just started carrying these big bags. The only ingredients here are pork skin, salt, and pink Himalayan sea salt, and regular sea salt. So just basically pork skin and salt. So really healthy, really good option. They have 11 grams of protein per serving in them as well. So I definitely have these stocked up in our pantry. Such a better alternative than something like the traditional potato chip. So when you're looking at something like applesauce, this is something we use in our kids' lunches. It's really important to get one that has no sugar added because there's really enough sweetness in the apples themselves that are used to make the applesauce. So in the no sugar or added applesauce, it has 0 added sugar. In the traditional Mott's applesauce, there's 7 grams of added sugar. So it's definitely worth it to go with the one that has no sugar added. It's still gonna taste good, your kids are still gonna like it. Products in the snack aisle can be really tricky, guys. So this one's marketed for people that are looking for healthier options. Sweet potato crackers, gluten-free. Gluten-free is great, but when we look at the ingredients, the first ingredient in these sweet potato crackers is corn. Okay, so not the healthiest. Then sunflower oil or corn oil, so 2 suboptimal oils, and then sweet potato. Then we've got some more corn, flaxseed, sesame seeds, chia seeds, and sea salt. So really, the sweet potato should ideally be the first ingredient, and then a better oil, avocado oil, olive oil, something other than the sunflower oil or vegetable oil. So these aren't a great option. If we look at another option of kids' snacks, these cauliflower stalks. It's a little bit of false advertising as well because their first ingredient is cassava. But cassava is a healthy ingredient. It comes from the tapioca root, and it's a low glycemic carb, so definitely better than like a traditional potato chip. Again, it uses sunflower oil, not the best, but then it has cauliflower, rice, and then some additives. But this would be a snack that I would definitely give my kids. Again, better than traditional potato chips. But some great options in the snack aisle. This crunchy kale is a good option. Its first ingredient is actually kale, which is good for, it has a lot of vitamin C, a lot of antioxidants, and this is great for digestive health as well. So that would be a good snack option. Also, these wisps are a new product here at BJ's as well. They have a big bag of Parmesan cheese crisps, and the only ingredient here is Parmesan cheese and sea salt. So very clean, pure ingredients. They also have them in individual bags, so 14 bags that you could take with you kind of for snacks to travel with. So that would be a legit keto snack. One more snack option that I like here at BJ's are these Bear apple chips. The only ingredient in this is apples, okay? So nothing else, 0 grams of added sugar. The only sweetness is coming from the apple itself, basically a dehydrated apple. They have them in the big bags and also in a 12 pack, which you could put in your kids' lunches or travel easily with. So that's a great snack option as well. I'm really not impressed with the protein selection at all at BJ's. Unfortunately, they have a lot of plant-based protein powders which do not provide a complete profile of essential amino acids for muscle building. And then their Premier Protein, which they have a ton of different flavors of, unfortunately, this is sweetened with maltodextrin, which is sugar, sulfame potassium, and sucralose. So it's got some nasty sweeteners in it. It's not high quality, so it's from milk protein concentrate, not even specifically whey protein concentrate. So I would definitely avoid those. I was excited to see that they do have a collagen protein that's very clean. So collagen isn't the best protein for muscle building, but it's really good for developing the infrastructure or the muscle connective tissue to help build muscle. So it's going to help develop our connective tissue. So it is important. It also helps with hair, skin, and nails. So this is really good. They're marketing it specifically to keto, but it's really for anyone. The only ingredients are collagen peptides, coconut medium chain triglycerides, the MCTs, cacao, and then sea salt and organic stevia. So it's sweetened with stevia. So that would be a great option if you're looking for a clean collagen protein supplement. And this is the chocolate flavor that they have here. But that's really the only protein I would really look at from BJ's. All right, so I did find the Orgain brand does have a grass-fed whey protein, so it's a non-plant based, but when I looked at the ingredients, it is sweetened with agave. So remember guys, we're trying to stay away from fructose, so this is not gonna be a good option either. Here we are in the nut aisle. So these are the nuts that are marketed as snacks. They're gonna be a little bit more expensive. Remember with nuts, the highest carb nuts are gonna be cashews, pistachios, and peanuts. So if you're on a ketogenic diet, those are the 3 you wanna avoid. But with all of these, I'm finding, looking at the label, that any of these varieties have peanut oil in them. So these nuts would be great on their own, but unfortunately they're roasted in a very high polyunsaturated fat, omega-6 oil, which is peanut oil. So if you can find a dry roasted nut, or go back to those nuts like we saw in the baking section that were not roasted, that's gonna be a better option than getting the ones roasted in any type of high omega-6 oil. All right, so we're at the nut butter section. Now I want to compare traditional peanut butter, Jif, to their organic Wesley Farms, which is the BJ brand peanut butter. So what we want to avoid especially is trans fat or hydrogenated vegetable oil. And that is clearly on the Jif label, hydrogenated vegetable oils, peanuts, and sugar, okay? So Jif is unfortunately going to be a no-go. Something like the BJ's brand is going to be a better option. So organic, dry roasted peanuts and sea salt. Okay, so they're dry roasted. That could be an option if you want a nut butter. Even better option is traditionally is almond butter, but BJ's isn't the best because they do add cane sugar and palm oil to their almond butter. So this one isn't the best option, but you can find them in traditional grocery stores that is just dry roasted almonds, and that's what you'd really want to look for. All right, guys, our last item of the day, and this is crucial for me. This is my favorite little sweet treat. It's the Lindt brand 90% dark chocolate. Okay, so this doesn't taste great if you're coming from a traditional standard American diet.
I can attest to that. That is not a Reese cup chocolate.
No, it is not. But once your taste buds change and you stop having that kind of hyper palatably sweet stuff in your diet, these are amazing. And I have just a few squares a day, but the ingredients here are chocolate, cacao butter, cacao powder, sugar, and vanilla beans. And there's not a ton of sugar. It's 2 grams of added sugar per 3 squares of this, okay? So it really can factor into a ketogenic diet if you're not eating the whole bar, okay? But it can give you that just little sweet treat. So this is, like I said, I have a few of these each day and I look forward to them. So I hope you guys found this helpful. I hope you'll come to BJ's and check out what they have. I have to say we've been BJ's members for years, and it's been so cool to see over the past few years how they really have evolved and carried more and more healthy options, and bringing them to people in bulk so that we can store them and have them on hand, especially in a time like this. A lot of these options are shelf stable and you can stock up on them. I know they were out of a few things, but that's to be expected. But if you guys have any questions, please feel free to comment below or email me directly at jess@crossfitvitality.com. But I always want to be here to help you pick out the best options and make the best decisions to be the healthiest version of yourself that you can.